to one another so that it performs some functions. It has a standard role of relationship and has a set of norms that regulate the function of the group.
Group. Okay. Again, this definition also emphasizes the number of groups, interaction between them, role, status, and their common goal and all. Okay. So we have seen three definitions. So from these three definitions, we can derive some of the characteristics of groups. See, we are moving to characteristics of the group. Okay, see which are the characteristics of a group. The first one, it says it is an assemblage of individuals. So we have seen that a group is a collection of individuals. So that is, it is an assemblage of individuals. Then again, another characteristics is it has its own structure and organization of forces. That means each group has its own structure and each group has its own organization of forces also. So each group has its own structure. Every member has a role. Every member has a status, etc. Then another characteristics is it has its own standard and norms of behavior of performance. So each group has certain rules and regulations. They have their own norms, their own standard of behavior of performance and all. Then again, another characteristics is it stands in role and status of relationship to one another. So there is interaction between them. So there exists a relationship between the group members. Each member has a role. They have to work accordingly. So it stands in role and status of relationship to one another. Again, another characteristic is it performs as some specific functions. So we have seen each group has a goal. They function for the achievement of that goal. So they have a specific function. Then another characteristics is it provides motivation and satisfaction of needs of the members. So each group considers the satisfaction of the need of its members, and they are motivated to achieve that also. Again, another characteristics is it provides the awareness of members by the process of interaction. That is also we have seen there is interaction between members. If there is no interaction, the group cannot exist more. Okay, moving to another characteristics, that is it has its goals and objectives. That is also very clear. And again, another characteristics is it has dynamic process of social and emotional development of the member. So each group, they have a common goal, and again, they work for the social and emotional development of its members also. Then again, it has a common fate or future. Here it says the members are interdependent. What do you mean by interdependent? What is the meaning of the term interdependence? That is actually sim or sing together. So it says success or failure for the whole group. If the group were a success, that is for the whole group, not for a single member. Okay. Excuse me, I'll take 1 minute and I'll come back very soon.
Can someone summarize what teacher said so far? How do you define a group? Are we a group? So how are we different from a mere aggregation? What's the difference between people who gather in a railway station or in a classroom?
Satisfied.
Teacher is back. I think teacher is facing some issue with the audio problem. So can we?
Okay.
Okay, you are ready.
Achha, it's okay. Can you?
Okay.
Okay. Ready.
Okay, continue.
Okay.
We will have a discussion on this. Yeah.
Okay. The screen is there. Can you see the screen?
No, it is. We are not seeing the screen, but we can hear you. No problem.
Okay. So 1 minute. I'll. is if once we achieve the goal, the group can be disintegrate. So again, the group won't be in a same nature, same manner. It will not work with same manner. Okay, these are the characteristics of a group. Is it clear? Can I move further? Okay. Now we are moving to the stages of group development. Acha clear ano?
Yeah, no problem. Clear. Yeah.
Okay, we are going to see different stages of group development. See, a team cannot be expected to perform well right from the time it is formed. So forming a team is just like maintaining a relationship. It takes time, patience, requires support, effort, and members often go through recognizable stages as they change from being a collection of strangers to a united group with common goals. So we cannot form a group all on a sudden. It takes some time, it takes some patience, like that. Uh, anyway, Bruce Tuckman presented a model of 5 stages of forming a group. So he says there are 5 stages of forming a group. These are the 5 stages. Can you see that 5 stages? First one is forming stage, second one is storming stage, third one is norming stage, fourth one is performing stage, and the last one is adjourning stage. So these are the 5 stages of a group development. Okay, we are moving to the first stage. First stage is the forming stage. So we can call it as orientation stage too. So at this stage, group members are learning what to do, how the group is going to operate, what is expected and what is acceptable. See, you just imagine you as a B.Ed group. The 50 students of you as a group. Then in the initial stage, during the orientation, you were in this orientation stage, forming stage. So at that time, you didn't know about what to do, what is expected from you, and what is acceptable. So at that time, during your orientation time, you were in this forming stage. Then another stage is the storming stage. That is a power struggle stage. See here in this stage, questions around leadership, authority, rules, policies, norms, responsibilities, structure, evaluation criteria, and reward systems tend to arise during the storming stage. Such questions need to be answered so that the group can move further on the next stage. So in the second stage, there are more questions about rules and regulations, leadership. Uh, okay, and for you also at this storming stage, you identified rules and regulations of the college, then the expected behavior from you, then you got a leader, then many of your questions are answered at the second stage. Then moving to the third stage, that is a norming stage. This stage is a cooperation and integration. At this stage, the group becomes fun and enjoyable. Group interactions are a lot more easier, more cooperative and productive with weight, give and take, open communication, bonding, and mutual respect. Okay, at this stage, I think for you, after the second stage, you also reach the norming stage where your communications are so easier. You enjoys being in that group. Then what? You become more cooperative, right? So you pass the forming stage, you pass the storming stage, and norming stage also. Then the fourth stage is performing stage. See, at this stage, the morale is high as group members actively acknowledge the talents, skills, and experience that each member brings to the group. A sense of belongingness is established, and the group remains focused on the group's purpose and goal. I think now you are in this stage. Am I right? You are in this stage now. A sense of belongingness is there. You have a common goal, you have a purpose, and you are very much focused. And again, the last stage is the closure stage or adjourning stage. So this stage of a group can be confusing and is usually reached when the task is successfully completed. So at this stage, the project is coming to an end and the team members are moving off in different directions. See, for you after B.Ed program, after the B.Ed program, you at that time you will achieve your goal. So then you will move off to another different directions. Then after that, this group will not be the same. Okay, these are the 5 stages of group development. So this is just a consolidation of 5 stages. Maria, can you read the first stage?
Forming stage.
Ah.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yeah, here. I can hear you. You're right.
Team acquaints and establishes ground rules. Formalities are preserved and members are treated as strangers.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Maria. Gion, can you read the second stage?
Can you hear me? Mr. Kekao?
Okay, yes. Read it.
Storming. Members start to communicate their feeling, but still view themselves as individuals rather than part of the team. They resist control by group leaders and show hostility.
Okay. Ashwati, read that third stage, norming stage.
Mr. Kekavo. Hello.
Vaicha.
Norming stage, people feel part of the team and realize that they can achieve work if they accept other viewpoints.
Okay. Minnu, can you read that fourth stage, performing stage? Minnu, can you hear me? Okay, then Suresh will read it for us. Suresh, can you read that? Okay. Vaicha.
Performing stage. The team works in an open and trusting atmosphere where flexibility is the key and hierarchy is of little importance.
Little importance. Okay. Then who will read the last stage? Steffi, can you read that? Steffi?
Hello?
Steffi, read that, the fifth stage.
The team conducts on an assessment of the year and implements a plan for transmitting rules and recognizing members' contributions.
Okay, thank you. These are the 5 stages of a group development. See, I think you have experienced all these stages. And as a B.Ed trainees, you are in which stage now? Performing or norming? Okay, you are in performing stage, I think. Okay. We are moving to another topic, that is types of groups. See, there are so many types of groups, and here you should remember one thing. Not groups are watertight compartments. See, it is like some formal groups can be a reference group, then some membership group can be a large group or small group. It is like that. Okay. We are going to see the types of group. The first one is primary and secondary groups. So what will be the primary group? If there is direct interaction between individuals in a group, that group can be called a primary group. So family is a primary group. There is direct interaction between individuals. And your optional class, that can be a primary group. There is interaction between you at all the time. Okay, and what is the secondary group? Secondary group is like there will not be any direct interaction between the individuals, but somehow they are associated and somehow they are related. I think that B.Ed students of Kottayam district can be a secondary group. So you are a part of that. You are associated. You are related. But there is not primary contact, not interaction, primary interaction with all the members. So that kind of group is called secondary groups. Then another type is formal and informal group. So what will be a formal group? When people formally need to attain some goal, that is formal group. So that formal groups might have certain rules and regulations. So they have a purpose. They are formally met to achieve that particular purpose. And some military units can be a formal group. Some sports team can be a formal group. And there are informal groups also. What would be an informal group? Individuals associate with one another to serve their common interest or self-satisfaction. Or sometimes people, they form groups for their mental satisfaction. So that kind of groups can be informal groups. That is, fans club can be an informal group, right? That is one of the example for informal groups. Then another type is membership groups. What will be membership groups? As the name shows, it says people must, what individuals have to register to acquire membership. They have to take membership to be a member of that particular group. That kind of groups are called membership groups. Some NSS, NCC groups are like that. Then another one is reference group. See, reference group is like, it says sometimes peer group can be a reference group. Actually, in reference group, people refer each other, what to wear, how to say, how to do something. So in some groups, people refer each other, or they follow each other. It is like that. So that kind of groups are reference group. I think some ladies group can be a reference group. Then even peer groups can be reference groups sometimes. Okay, then again another type is small and large groups. See, based on the number of individuals, there can be small or large groups. I don't think you need more explanation on that. Then again, organized and unorganized groups. See, what is organized group? It is like people will be working for a goal in a systematic way. See, in organized group, people work together systematically for a goal. They work together systematically to achieve something. That is organized group. Some rescue teams can be an organized group. See, they have a goal. They work systematically to achieve that particular goal. That is organized group. Then what is unorganized group? Unorganized group, it is like they are formed purposefully, but people just happen to fall into it. They are not formed purposefully, but people, they happen to fall into that. See, sometimes group of farmers, group of artists, that can be an example for unorganized groups. Then again, accidental and purposive groups. See, as the name shows, the groups formed accidentally in a situation. That is called accidental groups. When they meet some common issue, or when they fall in the same situation, they accidentally form a group. That is accidental group. Then we have purposive groups. What is purposive group? They are formed purposefully to achieve something. They are formed purposefully to achieve something. See, some charity groups can be purposive groups. They have a purpose. Okay, then another one is open and closed groups. See, what is open group? In an open group, new members can enter at any time and the old members can exit at any time. See, there is no restriction to entry and exit. See, sometimes some parent group, then residence group can be open groups. So members can, at any time they can get into and they can exit also. Then another one is closed group. So closed group, there is entry is restricted. In closed group, entry is restricted. And you know, some groups, ladies only groups or Lions Club, all that groups are closed groups. Then again, another type is temporary and permanent groups. So that is that it is also clear from its name. Okay, people form groups for temporary needs. So that is called temporary groups. So some, for example, what to say, flood relief fund team. So some individuals formed a group to collect flood relief fund. So it's for a temporary in nature. So that is temporary group. Then permanent groups, that is permanent in nature. So the group members form a permanent group. That is permanent group. Okay. Then another one is nominal or non-performing group. So as the name shows, it is nominal. It is only for namesake. They are non-performing groups. They are not functioning. They are not functioning in the sense they don't have any common goal, or they are not doing anything to achieve something like that. They are there as a group, but non-performing. See, some WhatsApp groups are non-performing groups. Okay, these are some of the different types of groups. I think it's clear. Primary, secondary, formal, informal, membership, reference group, small group, large group, then organized, unorganized, accidental, purposive, open, closed, then temporary, permanent, and nominal groups. So these are different types of groups. Okay. See, with this slide, I'm going to wind up. Okay, we'll see what is the importance of group. Is group important for us? Actually, the term groups, it seems it's a very simple topic, but we get into that, we know that groups are not so simple. Group is very important in our lives too. Okay. Groups provide vital link between the individual and society. So groups satisfy basic individual needs. Then again, through groups, children are raised, shelter and protection are provided, people gain important information about themselves, and people satisfy an inherent desire to have human contact and to bond with each other. Then groups support and sustain larger organizations and society by teaching values and societal norms, by exerting pressure on individual to conform, and by providing a means to solving problems. So here it says, we know that knowingly or unknowingly from the time of birth, we are a part of many groups, right? And this group influence our behavior and provides a training. So this group provides us a training to how to live in a society, how to behave in a society. So the groups are very important in our life. Why groups are very important in our life? Actually, the nature of group influences our behavior, and in groups we get training, and in groups we are raised and we get protection. All our needs are satisfied. So groups are very important in our life. Okay, I'm winding up here. Hope it is clear for you. Is it clear? Okay, okay.
നമുക്ക് സുനിത മിസ് താങ്ക് യു കൊടുക്കണ്ട. എല്ലാരും കൈയടിക്കുന്ന എങ്ങനെ? കൈയടിച്ച് നമ്മുടെ ഡെഫാൻഡമിന്റെ രീതിയിൽ ഒരു കൈയടി കൊടുത്തേ. ഇപ്പോൾ ഇത് ഡിസ്കണക്റ്റഡ് ആണ് കേട്ടോ. യു വിൽ ഹാവ് ടു റീജോയിൻ. ഇത് ഡിസ്കണക്റ്റഡ് ആയാൽ ഉടനെ റീജോയിൻ ചെയ്യണേ.
ഒരു മിനിറ്റും കൂടെ ഉള്ളൂ.
ലെസ് ദാൻ 1 മിനിറ്റ് എല്ലാവരും കാണുന്നുണ്ടോ? ആ സ്ക്രീൻ ലെസ് ദാൻ 1 മിനിറ്റ് എന്ന് കാണിക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ നിങ്ങളുടെയൊക്കെ സ്ക്രീനിൽ? അപ്പൊ വി വിൽ ഹാവ് ടു റീജോയിൻ. അവിടെ നമുക്ക് വി വിൽ ഹാവ് എ ഗ്രൂപ്പ് ഡിസ്കഷൻ. നിങ്ങളെ ഗ്രൂപ്പായിട്ട് തിരിച്ച് ഡിസ്കഷൻ ഉണ്ടാവേ, ബ്രേക്ക് ഔട്ട് ഗ്രൂപ്പ്സ്. ഈ സൂമിനെ കുറിച്ച് ഒത്തിരി കംപ്ലൈന്റ് ഉണ്ടല്ലോ, ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള സൂമിന്റെ ഇപ്പൊ ഞാൻ ആ പവർ പോയിന്റിൽ ഓരോന്നൊക്കെ ചെയ്യുന്നത് നിങ്ങൾ കാണുന്നുണ്ടായിരുന്നു.